Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Rapid Dawn right here on Rapid Television. And we're talking about the ADC crisis and, of course, the recent ruling by the court. I've been joined by David Itokba, the Deputy National Welfare Secretary of the ADC. Once again, Mr. David, good morning and thank you for being here with us.
Good morning. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, we can hear you
absolutely.
now very clearly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning, Nigerians, and good morning to you all. I am so sorry I wasn't able to join you at the studio due to some very unforeseen circumstances. I'm really sorry about that, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to join in the live conversation some other time.
All right, we hope to get to some other time. But let's begin the conversation. Let's start from your office. You are the Deputy National Welfare Secretary of the ADC. First of all, what exact problems are you responsible for solving, for within the party at this point?
Well, thank you for that questions. And that will be correct that I'm the Deputy National Welfare Secretary of the party. And then as such, it will also be correct to state that I am part of also the decision-making body of the party at some point in time. And then it is also not correct that we have a lot of crisis on the party, or the party is in a state of division, as so many people have reported in other media outlets and even on social media. But what is correct is that we are aware that there are some underhand tactics by some anti-democratic tendencies to ensure that they suppress oppositions so that they can gain coronation in the 2027 general election. And we as a party, under the leadership of His Excellency Distinguished Senator David Mark, we are aware of all these tendencies. And even before the talks of the coalition and before the coalition bettered in the ADC, we are not unaware that these crises are going to come up. And so it is correct to say that we were prepared. The leadership of Senator David Mark is prepared to deal with some of these underhand tactics, if not all of them, by any means possible within the ambit of the law. So there are no crises in the party. There is no division in the party. What we have, like I said, is the fact that there are people who have made themselves available as a willing tool by the ruling APC, which, of course, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is their undisputed leader, to ensure that they bring down all opposition parties. We've seen what is happening in the PDP. We've seen what is happening in the Labour Party. And then, of course, Nigerians are not blind to see what is playing out in the ADC. And we are very much grateful to the legal seek of the Supreme Court having given that landmark judgment, which affirmed Senator David Mark and His Excellency Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola as the leadership of the party.
All right.
And so that's what they are currently.
All right. Now, you did mention that there is no crisis in the party, but was there ever a time where there was a situation with talking about the legitimacy crisis? Of course, again, there's been the situation between Nafi Bala Gombe, who, and of course, former Senate President David Mark, for the battle of who is going to be the leader of the party. Is that not, or was that not, a legitimacy crisis within the party?
Oh, no. That's not a legitimacy crisis within the party. Because let me take you through the books. And of course, if you are aware of how party operates, and of course, I speak to our constitutions and other constitutions of other political parties as well. But now, for the purpose of this discussion, let me limit it to the ADC. Nigerians are clearly aware that there are hierarchies within the party, right? There is, first of all, the NWC, which oversees the day-to-day activities of the party, who is also statutorily empowered to take decisions within the party. Now, those decisions will now be ratified by the NEC, which is the National Executive Council of the party. And then whatever ratification the NEC has made will also need to be ratified at the convention. Now, what that means is this. Once a decision is taken and you are a member of the NEC, whether you are there by proxy or in person, whatever decision of the NEC is, it is binding on you, whether you like it or not. And it is because of these purposes that the Nigerian judiciary or the Supreme Court has in various times stated that, look, intra-party affairs are not justiciable. So this thing shouldn't have even gotten to the court in the first place. So there was a meeting, and then there was a resolution at the time of the birth of the coalition into the ADC, that the Raf Nwosu NWC dissolve itself. And now when it dissolved itself, the NEC sat and ratified that decision of that NWC to dissolve itself. Yes. Was Nafiu Bala a member of that NWC? Oh, yes, he was a member of that NWC. I think at the point he was a deputy national chairman, one of the deputy national chairmen at the time. And so that decision is binding upon him. And then that decision did not end there. That decision went further to the NEC. And the NEC, which has a statutory power to take decisions on behalf of the convention, because convention comes just once in a while. And that NEC sat upon this matter and ratified it. So at that point in time, the question of legitimacy does not even come to bear, does not even come to play in the first place, because that NEC supersedes every other decisions of the party. And as long as you are under the party's umbrella, you submitted yourself willingly to the constitutions of the ADC, then that decision of the NEC is binding upon you. So the question of legitimacy did not even come to play in the first place.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Itofa, for joining us on the conversation this morning. So just so that we understand the basics of the conversation, you made mention of the fact that the Supreme Court ruling, before we even get to any other thing that you have mentioned, the Supreme Court made a ruling, and there was a ruling by the appeal court as well. I want you to take us through the process of what had happened before, during, and after. But before we do that, we'll go out on a very quick break. And after the break, we'll have you explain to us extensively what the crisis is about.
Time is power. Our lives are powered by the sun. As the sun rises, so do we. As we trust it to rise and set without any worries interrupting your morning with our hybrid all-in-one inverter, powering our prosperity and happiness. But also nurture what is dear to us, powering trust and support, empowering us to do things that really matters. Star Times Solar, power your life.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. This is still the big conversation, and we're talking about the Supreme Court ruling that restores the leadership of David Mark, and the implication of that to the ADC's internal party crisis. And we have had the pleasure of Mr. Itofa joining us on the conversation this morning. Good morning, and thanks for being here again.
Thank you very much.
All right. So I was asking about what exactly the Supreme Court means by the status quo antebellum in this context. We want to know what led to this matter getting to the Supreme Court, just for context, and what leadership was recognized at the time. And when the Supreme Court says restoring to status quo antebellum, what does it mean, and what leadership does it point to?
Well, thank you very much once again. And I would also like to clarify that and there's no crisis on the party. That's one. And then
Okay.
secondly, the Supreme Court, let me reiterate that it never stated that we should return to status quo ante-bellum. If anything, the Supreme Court was clear in its judgment, in its landmark judgment. It quashed the issue of status quo ante-bellum, that there is not even need, there would have been no need for that case to even get to that point at the appellate court, that they will even give a judgment of status quo ante-bellum. That there's not even need for that. And that David Mark is the rightful leader of the party. That's one. Then, again, what happened was that, like I said in my earlier position, that the party, the NWC, the RAF 102 NWC had dissolved itself, paving way for the leadership of Senator David Mark, Raouf Aregbesola et al. Now, the NEC also ratified that decision, so which gave legitimacy to the Senator David Mark-led leadership and of the ADC.
Okay.
Then nowhere in Nafiu Balagombe certainly remembers that, oh, he was a part of that NWC that had been dissolved. Mind you, there are documents in the public spaces who shows that he had already even resigned from the party. From the party. So you saw at some point in time, it was crystal clear to all well-meaning Nigerians, and they could see through the lies and through the deceptions of Nafiu Balagombe that he's just made himself available as a willing tool by the All Progressive Congress and those who do not want democracy to thrive in Nigeria, to ensure that he cast his powder in the wheel of progress of the ADC. And then it was from that point he went to court, challenging the leadership of Senator David Mark. Now, there wouldn't have been no need for all of these things, because there are a plethora of landmark cases the Supreme Court has, affirmed and give ruling in the past that these are intra-party affairs, and it is not justiciable. A party decides who its leadership is, right? And so that when we got to the appeal court, and the appellate court in its wisdom said, return to status quo ante-bellum. What is status quo ante-bellum? Return to the position where you were before the war. And now, what was before the war? Was before Nafiu Bala came up and started saying that, oh, he is claiming legitimacy and challenging the leadership of Senator David Mark. David Mark was already the chairman and leading the party at the time. So whether or not you like it, status quo ante-bellum, as the Court of Appeal had ruled in the past, also translates to going back to David Mark as the leader
of the party. Okay. Okay.
So we do not, then that brings INEC into this whole matter, because we do not even understand where INEC derives its power from to even start interpreting court orders and even taking decisions on behalf of
after the court orders.
Clearly not their jurisdiction. Clearly not.
All right. While we understand that the Supreme Court declined to uphold the appellate court interim order and returned the matter to the Federal High Court for full hearing and determination, there seemed to be some sort of pushback to that, returning the matter back to the Federal High Court. Can you speak to us on this?
Now, I'm not a lawyer, but from my research and all of that, if the Supreme Court, who is said to be the apex court and the policy court in the country, it means whatever pronunciation they make has becomes a law. Now, if the Supreme Court has made that pronunciation that, look, this matter is not justiciable, I think going back to the trial court means that it's just an academic exercise. And so we are hopeful. We are really, really hopeful that by the time we get there, we'll be able to prove our case beyond all reasonable doubt that, look, this matter is an intra-party affair matter. And then it's justiciable, because we also challenge the issue of jurisdiction as well in the court of law. And our laws are clear. The laws of the land are clear that, look, these matters are not justiciable.
Okay. Now, just to be clear as well, our official party members obeying this particular decision, across all state chapters. I mean, the decision by the court right now. Are all official party decisions being obeyed across all state chapters?
Oh, absolutely. Every committed member who is true to the party, who is true to the cause of rescuing Nigeria, who is true to the cause of ensuring that we remove the APC from power because they have led us to nowhere but the progressive style of governance. Every member who is duly committed to this cause is also committed to the ruling and the pronunciation of the Supreme Court.
Are there states that do not have committed members and leadership at this point in time? Because in your statement, you said every committed member. So are there states that are not committed to this ruling?
By that statement in context, it means that everybody who do not agree with the ADC at this point in time, who do not agree and submit his or herself to the leadership of Senator David Mark, is working for Tinubu. There's nothing you can tell me about that. Good luck trying to convince me.
Let's quickly take it to the summit that was held very recently, April 26, 2025. 2026 rather, in April 25th, 2026 in Ibadan, Oyo State, where there was a summit of the coalition that came together. And we did have a conversation with some members of the ADC and some members of the PDP as well, which said that the reason for that summit was so that they can you can all unite together against the APC. Now, first of all, you are aware of that particular summit, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, you're part of that summit as well. Now, yes. After that summit, very recently we've seen that Peter Obi, the former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, who also was a member of the ADC, and in line with Rabi Kwankwaso, just left the ADC very recently, citing internal crisis and, of course, dedication within the party. Now, are you losing members or you're getting confusion within the party even as you speak now?
Okay, I will start by telling you something. As a young man within the corridors of political party decision making, I want to say this unequivocally clear that I have been around power play, politics and power play for at least a reasonable number of years to understand that when people want to take certain decisions that are, centered around their interests, they are quick to cite internal crisis as a reason for them to move or to take certain decisions. Having said that, the summit in Ibadan, which took place on the 26th of April, is exactly the right thing for every opposition party to do. Because as we speak, you go to the market, you don't have a separate market you go to. I don't have a separate market I go to. Every other well-meaning Nigerians, including even those in the APC, buy fuel from the same places that I buy fuel from. And we are all feeling the brunt of the maladministration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So the right thing to do is for everybody to sheath their sword, keep aside whatever ambition you have, and let's see how we can work with a unity of purpose to ensure that we come together and remove these people from power. That is not too hard for any well-meaning Nigerian to see.
Okay.
But the situation where, and then again, it brings me to the question that, look, anybody, a political party is like a marketplace. It's a free entry and free exit.
Okay.
It is not binding by any form of oath of allegiance that says you cannot leave until death do us part. Even in marriages these days, the death do us part thing no longer work. When you're tired of that marriage, you leave. If you no longer serve your purpose, you leave. But to now cite internal crisis as an excuse of trying to further your ambition, pursue your ambition further, I think it is really not good for the opposition party. And so, having said that, we are committed, we are fully focused, and then we're going to make sure we continue to rally Nigerians to ensure that we achieve the greater goal ahead.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the very next question. Now, we know that this particular political player in focus, Peter Obi, the presidential candidate for the Labour Party 2023 general elections. We have seen some level of moves or drastic moves from him. From the PDP, he was from ABGA. From ABGA, he left to PDP. And after the whole crisis that was his excuse for leaving the party, we now see what has become of the PDP. From the PDP, he moves on to Labour Party. Now we see what is left of the Labour Party. Then on, he goes to the ADC and now to the NDC. Can you realistically say that the ADC can stand this shift. And I'm saying that because this person is a key political player, and we have seen momentous support from him. We have seen the obedience. We have seen now an ADC Youth Forum is, you know, being formulated, still in the works. It has over 300 people right now, as we speak, registered under that youth forum, and all of this is in support of fielding him as a candidate, the Take Back Niger, and a lot of movements that have also been formed in support for this particular candidate, Peter Obi. Now he has left to the NDC. Can you realistically say that ADC would be a worthy opponent come 2027? Will they even field candidates? Because these are the questions that we asked before this move. Do we see them being able to stand on their own after the key player, quote unquote, one of the key players rather, quote unquote, has exited the party to another party?
Yeah, you rightfully took me through the course of history, where you said that this particular key player had moved from one particular party to another, and then he kept on moving. At every instance, he kept citing crisis and all of that. So I think the question, therefore, is to ask this particular player what exactly is the problem. Because if you alone is citing problems, crisis everywhere you go to, then it means that you are the problem. Now, having said that, the coalition was not built on any single individual, right? The coalition was built on the support of the Nigerian people, not on the support of any singular individual. And the coalition is not meant to drive the ambition of any single individual. It is our collective resolve, fueled by the passion of Nigerians, to ensure that we give them the Nigeria that they need. And so I do not see how this in any way is going to affect the resolve of the ADC going forward.
But you do agree that he has enormous support from people. I know many times that the analysts have come out to say it's online support. Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead. Even as a journalist, are you trying to tell me that you don't have people who support what you do and people who dislike what you do?
Of course.
Everybody has a supporter, and everybody has those who do not agree with their decisions as well. Mm-hmm. I think I've laid that to rest.
So my question is, do you think, I have given you a trajectory of what became of each of this party that he has moved from into another. I'm asking now, with this exit from this party, do you think that ADC...
If we are being realistic, when this particular person of concern left the APGA, no, I don't think, in my opinion, anything had happened to APGA. APGA still maintains the structure and the leadership of that state where he comes from.
That's one of four. That's one of four.
I think you missed that part, right? Now, you said he moved into the PDP and then he left the PDP. When he left the PDP still maintained at least about 13 governors during the last general election.
Right now, so they have just two.
Hold on. What has happened? What has happened to the PDP has nothing to do with this individual. Okay. What has happened to the PDP was an internal sabotage orchestrated by the ruling body, by the ruling government of the day. It is crystal clear to everybody who wants to be truthful to his or herself. It has nothing to do with any single individual exiting that platform, right? We all know the machineries and the machinations of the APC to ensure that they fuel internal sabotage and internal crisis in that party, except we are not being fair and being sincere to ourselves. So I don't think that, in all fairness, has to do with any individual leaving that party. And now you come to the ADC. I have just rightfully told you that the ADC was not built on the ambition of anybody. It was not built on the strength of any particular individual. It is built on the passion of Nigerians. It is built on the long suffering of Nigerians to ensure that we continue to rally them to rescue the country from the hands of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And that's on period.
All right. Let me take you again back to the summit that was held in Ibadan, of course, April 25th. Now, the idea of the summit is to discuss single presidential candidates for 2027. You also had about 14 parties that came together for that particular purpose, correct? Now, how do you, as a party, intend to achieve this?
Throughout the course of history, dialogue has always been a better strategy to get whatever results you want to get. And so part of the strategy is to continue to broaden our consultations within the stakeholders of these 14 parties, and also the custodians or the statesmen who are apolitical at this point in time. So that's probably one of the best ways we are going to do this. Continue to, reach out to people, continue to seek their opinions, continue to consult with critical stakeholders within our political firmament.
All right.
So we were going to, the coalition was not going to, and I speak for the entirety of the leadership of the coalition, that the coalition was never at any point in time going to foist or impose any candidates on Nigerians or on the 14 opposition parties who were present at that summit. We were going to painstakingly discuss and consult widely to achieve or to arrive at a particular candidate, or so to speak. And where consensus fails to happen, then we cannot go to the field. These are still within the these are still within the democratic ethos of Nigeria. It is within our constitutional right to do so.
All
you
right.
have seen the INEC recently electoral act, where it stated that elections must be by consensus or that primaries, and we're going to explore those two.
All right. Just to quickly add to this, basically now, or just to add a follow-up question. Now, I also do recall that in this particular summit, members of some of these political parties, like the Labour Party, the PDP, factional members now came out to state that this particular summit has nothing to do with their parties as it is. Again, looking at the factions that have also existed within other parties, and those factions are the ones that came for the summit, would you say that the ADC and of course every other party, you all are in a unanimous decision saying that there are also internal crises and factions within other parties that came together for this summit?
Oh well, that's we are not, like I said, and I'll keep saying it, there are no crises in the ADC, and then there is no faction in the ADC.
How about the PDP? How about the Labour Party? How about other parties?
There are factions. That's not my political party, so I'm not aware of what is going on there.
You came together for a summit. No, you came together for a summit.
What I do know is that people of eminent personalities from other political parties across the divide came together and see how they could forge a way ahead of 2027. And in my honest opinion, I think Nigerians received that very well, with keen interest, seeing how we are going to dislodge the ruling APC. So the issue of faction does not come to play here.
Okay.
All right.
Our time is fast spent, but before you go, I want to quickly ask you one question. Now, we have seen switchings from political parties, are we seeing this increasing movement? Some call it strategy, some think it's instability. But what do you think this frequent party switching say about the ideology in Nigerian politics? Do you think that they run on any ideology, or it's basically ambition?
Well, for now, I think that is basically ambition. But in the ADC, what we are trying to do, if you look at some of the key committees and key events that have helped shape the ADC into what it is today, we are truly trying to build an institution that will outlive every political actor in the nearest future. And so what I can tell you that the ADC has come to stay, and the ADC is going to be that political party with a clear-cut ideology to promote the Nigeria of our dreams. So people moving from here to one place, you are here today, in 2 weeks' time you are out, clearly do not believe in ideologies of political parties. I think it's just a movement driven by ambition at this material time.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, David, for your time with us this morning. We do appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And you too.
All right. Of course, we've been speaking with David Itopa, Deputy National Welfare Secretary of the ADC, talking about the recent ruling by the Supreme Court, when it comes to the issues going on within the ADC. Of course, he has stated, severally that there are no crises within the ADC. Of course, yeah.
All right, we'll go out on a very quick break, and when we get back, we keep up with this conversation. Please stay with us.
Welcome back to watching Rapid Down right on Rapid Television. And of course, we're still talking about ADC crisis and of course the implications of the ruling by the court. And currently we are joined by AK Master Christian, a political analyst. Thank you for being here with us this morning, sir.
Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Of course, we've seen the official ruling by the Supreme Court regarding the ADC matter. We just had a conversation with an ADC member, actually the Deputy National Welfare Secretary, who came out to say that there are no international crises within the party. But from where you sit and from what you observe, do you think that the ADC, they are in unity?
Well, I don't believe that Mr. David will come out to say there is no crisis or there is any crisis. At least for benefit of that, he needs to protect his party, which is the ADC. So that's the angle I'm seeing what he's saying. But then, for me, if there is a problem in ADC, there is every Nigerian knows there is a challenge already in ADC. The Supreme Court, for you to go to court means there is a crisis. If there is no crisis, you won't go to court. You won't go to Supreme Court. So there's a crisis. So that is, for me, there's a crisis in ADC, but just that who is going to spill it out and tell us the real truth, what is happening in ADC. So, because right now, like you pointed out, Peter Obi leaving ADC. No man leaves a party where there is peace. So, like, we already know Peter Obi. He has said it in the contest that he can't stay in a place that is crisis. Right. So, for him to leave, that means there is a crisis.
Okay. I know that you are an ardent supporter of Peter Obi, but at what point does political flexibility becomes political inconsistency? Or because he has, you know, the trajectory: ABGA, PDP, Labour Party, ADC, and now NDC. This is one man's political journey. At what point do these political flexibility becomes inconsistency?
Okay, for me, I'm not a politician. Okay, I'm not a politician. Do I feel disappointed? Peter Obi moving from ADC to NDC, even from Labour to ADC. Yeah, at a point I felt he would have, because this is a candidate that almost all the opposition, even the ruling party, are after. Right. Like Mr. David said, the coalition was not for anybody, was not centered on anybody. Coalition was going to vote. Who? Remove. We all will know that ADC will not be the ADC that we know before Peter Obi joined.
So you're saying that the Peter Obi factor strengthened the ADC?
Peter Obi factor has been the strength of this. Who knows a Labour Party before?
So hold on.
Peter Obi made Labour Party known.
Just to be sure, just to be clear of what you're saying, are you saying that the ADC was built on the foundation of Peter Obi?
No, ADC was not built. ADC has been a party on its own. It wasn't built. Do you understand? It wasn't. The coalition used the ADC platform as a political party, right? The coalition was not built on a political party. It was built on the ideology that we want to save Nigeria. Now, this is a young man, this is a political candidate who has showed Nigerians the fact that I want to solve a problem. You know, there is one thing I keep on telling people. I said, Peter Obi is pointing at a problem. A new Nigeria is possible. He is telling us some issues that he wants to fix. I want to fix Nigeria from production to productivity. What are other politicians telling us?
But much more than that, we know that being able to function in a political party, the political party is a driver. But at a point where a person, a political player, moves from one party to another because, number one, it's either they don't get the desired result, or number two, their ambition will not be upheld within that party. Doesn't it cause some level of rancor? And because our time is fast spent, right, let me just add those two questions together. You know that according to the 1999 Constitution, Section 68, subsection 1G, it talks about how a member of a Senate or a House of Representatives must vacate its seat if they defect to another political party before the expiration of a term in which they were elected. Now, do you think that Nigeria should also consider stricter anti-defection laws beyond the legislature? Because this movement, you have agreed that it is very disappointing that a political player with his pedigree moves from one party to another. Do you think that this should also be brought for aspirants, not just legislators?
No, I think that law, yes, some political parties need to come to that point where defection is not acceptable. So you stay in a political party, you continue. But however, it does not still mean that a candidate. I can't degrade Peter Obi based on his movement from one particular party to another, because I will tell you, Alice Oti is a very good example.
Okay.
How many parties did Alice Oti move from? You discover it's not one, it's not two, it's not three.
Okay.
But today, we can attest that he's a leader. He's making Abia State and he's imparting. So it's not about actually the political party itself. It's about the individual. What is your ambition? If a party is not, because it's generally accepted now, like what we see, that you can move from one party, like Mr. David even pointed out, he said, if something is not good for you, you leave. So it's an open place. So just, it's a platform, right? So a vehicle for me to convey what I want to do. So it's not actually a challenge.
But working as a team, is it not also required of you in a political party?
You know, one challenge I'll end my statement with this. You know, I told someone last, I said, watch, Peter Obi has moved to NDC, right? NDC, we all will attest that there is no crisis, there is no challenge, right? For now, I like that what you say, for now. So don't be surprised that in the next 2 weeks, we'll be hearing someone that will tell us he conceived the name before Mr. Dixon even registered the name, and this will have another issue. Now, why is that anywhere this man, have you asked yourself, why is that where this young man goes, there is always a crisis that starts?
What's the answer to that very quickly?
Do you understand?
Exactly, what's the answer to that?
The answer to it is that this man is a force that can solve Nigerian problem.
But
because of our time, anyway.
honestly,
we do have a number of questions that we want to ask you, and of course, fine-tune this conversation even better. I mean, just to be able to get the expansion to some of your answers. But we are short of time, and therefore this is all we're going to be taking today. Thank you so much, AK Master Christian, for being here with us.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right. Of course, do remember that you can follow us across all our social media pages across the platform at Rapid TV. And you can get to watch our episode on YouTube platform at Official Rapid TV. And wherever you are in the world, you can watch us live using our website, www.arabianradiotv.com. My name is Victor. Okay.
My name is Martha Alu, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.